Hey guys. Today I had somebody a while ago ask me to do a video where I talked about like movies and shows that I like. And so I'm not gonna go like back in the archives of things that I have watched, but I decided to do a video where I just share things that I've seen recently, like semi-recently, that I have really enjoyed. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to chew some Bubble Yum cotton candy again. I still have not made it to a store to get the Big League Chew, but I promise I'm going to do it soon. So I'm also going to blow some bubbles while I talk because people have been asking me to do that. And so hopefully that doesn't bother you. This is really good bubble gum, bubble blowing gum once some of the sugar comes out. So okay, so I am going to talk about a few things from 3 different, what's it called? Different apps, different whatever, streaming services, I guess is what I'm thinking of. That we primarily use, which is Netflix, Prime, Amazon Prime, and or Prime Video, and Apple TV. Those are the 3 streaming services that I feel like we will watch the most. Also, my sister bought some of these, I think, on Amazon, these silicone rings, which are like, and she got the wrong size or something, so she had some extras and gave me some. And I really like it. It's really comfortable. So for like working out or doing stuff outside or going to the pool, it's nice to have. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Netflix. And I feel like that's the most common one. But there's a show on Netflix that has 2 seasons now. And it's called Firefly Lane. And they released season 2 in 2 parts. So I don't know how long ago season 1 came out, but it was a while ago. And I can't remember if I watched the entire season before I started reading the book or if I watched part of it. Because sometimes when I find out that something is a book, I want to read the book first before I watch the show or the movie. And when Firefly Lane first came out, I did not know that it was a book. It's a book by Kristen Hanna. Either way, let's just say I watched season 1. I really liked it. And then I read the book. And I loved the book. The book was very different from the show. They kept, you know, they kept some big things the same, but there were a lot of differences, and I'm not going to share those because that would be kind of spoiling the show. But I just really felt like the show and the book, but for this purpose of me sharing what I've watched, the show did a really good job of just portraying relationships and like the depth of friendships and the complications, the complexities of like family dynamics, and I don't know, just all the different stages of life that you go through. I thought it was a great show that highlighted the human condition. And so I would really recommend that. I love Katherine Heigl. I can't remember the name of the other actress in that show, but I loved her too. They just both were phenomenal. And so just 2 weeks ago, I finished the second half of season 2. That was released fairly recently. Cried, laughed, cried. It was really good. So I would recommend that show. The other thing on Netflix that I saw really recently was my husband and I watched the Extraction 2. The first one came out a couple years ago, I guess, with Chris Hemsworth. It's a movie. I actually thought the second one was better than the first one. I will tell you, now that we have a kid, we very rarely finish a movie in one night. Like, it usually takes us 3 nights spread out to finish a movie. But the other night we watched the whole movie, Extraction 2, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Those are the 2 recent things that I have seen on Netflix, but I decided to throw in 2 other things that I really loved from Netflix. I'm gonna add one more thing that I just thought of. The Bodyguard is a British show on Netflix. I can't remember the guy's name. I want to say his last name is Madden. I'm not sure. He's most famous for being in Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones, but he plays Robb Stark in Game of Thrones. I should have written his name down. I think his last name is Madden. I might be making that up. But he's in The Bodyguard. And my husband and I watched that show several years ago. But we loved that show. It was really good. The other show that we watched several years ago was Luther. And I thought of Luther because of another show that I'm going to bring up. Luther has several seasons, and it has Idris Elba, British actor. We loved that show. It was so good. It was like a crime show. And one thing I like about those is, like, oftentimes British crime shows follow the same story for an entire season. I really like that because I feel like it develops the characters so much more. It develops the story instead of it being like a Criminal Minds thing where you just have one crime for one episode and then you switch and it keeps moving. I love the shows that have like, especially even like the limited series that are just like 6 episodes, but it all focuses on the same thing. I like those. So we really liked Luther. With Idris Elba. That was a good one. Those are the ones that I have for Netflix to share. Then, on Amazon Prime, I just watched pretty recently our new series with the same guy from The Bodyguard. Richard Madden, is that his name? Okay. Somebody tell me. Called Citadel. It had him in it, and it had Nick Jonas's wife. I can't remember her name, but my husband started that show with me, and then after like one episode, he was like, you can watch this without me. So I will say he was not into it. He was like, I don't want to watch this. But I liked it. They definitely set you up for another season, but I was confused because they'd already released like a teaser trailer for the next season, and it did not seem to go with how the season 1 ended, so I'm confused. But it was a good show, to me. I also recently watched the movie on Prime called She Said, which is fairly new. It's not super new, but it's fairly new. And it's based on a true story about the journalist at the New York Times who kind of exposed Harvey Weinstein. So it was kind of a depressing movie, but those kinds of films I think are really necessary, and so I wanted to watch it. It was very good. It was well done. It's horrifying and horrible, you know, all the stuff, but I thought it was a well done movie. Going off of that, it reminds me of a movie. I can't remember what medium this is on, but the movie Bombshell. Did any of you ever watch that? It had Margot Robbie, Charlize Theron, and somebody else. There was another really famous actress in that one. I can't remember. But that one was another scandal being revealed, and it was a very well done movie. Another really sad movie, just because of all the corruption and everything, but it was well done. That one I don't remember where we saw it, and that was years ago. But another thing that I have watched semi-recently on Prime is a show called The Outlaws. It's a British show, and it's about all these people basically in England who have to do community service for something that they've done. And so they all meet and they're all together doing community service. And it's really funny, as well as like has stories that you follow. they fairly recently released season 2, and I have only watched like 1 or 2 episodes of season 2, but I liked it. I liked the show. The thing that I remembered after talking about The Bodyguard is something that I watched years and years ago, and I'm almost 100% sure it was on Prime, called The Night Manager. It was a limited series, which are usually always the best. And I'm sad they don't keep going because it's so good, but it probably wouldn't be as good if they kept going. It had Tom Hiddleston. The actor Tom Hiddleston, he plays Loki in the Marvel movies. And it was so good. That's one of the best shows. Like, we loved that show. He basically is like this night manager at this hotel, this really fancy like chalet place in the mountains. And there's this like corrupt guy that the MI5 or somebody is trying to catch, and they get him to go undercover basically and like befriend this dude. It was really good. I really like him. So that was years ago, but I remembered that one, and so I was going to share it. Okay, that was all for Prime. And then Apple TV. I just remembered 2 things on Apple TV that we watched a while ago, but that are really good. But something we just started last night, it's just now being released, is a show called Hijack, and it has Idris Elba. We've only watched 1 episode. At the point that I'm recording this video, only 2 have been released, and I think they're getting released once a week. It has Idris Elba. Did I already say that? Same guy from Luther. And it's basically about a plane getting hijacked, and he's on the plane. It was a good first episode. So that's all we've seen so far, but it was good. Another thing that I just started on Apple TV, I haven't even finished the first episode, but my sister watched the whole series and she really liked it. It's called Bad Sisters. And it's like these, is there 4 or 5 of them? There's 4 or 5 sisters who are adults now. The show starts off that one of the sisters' husbands has died, and they're getting ready for his funeral. And I haven't even made it through the first episode, but I think that the premise is that maybe these sisters had something to do with it, because right off from the beginning, it's showing that he was a horrible husband to the one sister. And it's funny. It's like dark humor. It's a British show. So, we'll see. But it looks like it's going to be good. I started watching The Last Thing He Told Me with Jennifer Garner. on Apple TV. And then I realized it was a book. I think I watched 2 episodes. And now my book club is reading that book. So I stopped watching the show. I'm almost done with the book. And then I'm going to finish the show. But it's called The Last Thing You Told Me. And it's kind of one of those mystery, like, the premise is that her husband just disappears. And he sends her a note. I don't know if the premise tells you what the note says, so I guess I won't say that, but it's all very mysterious, like why he disappeared, what is he doing, like why did he leave? And he left her and his like 16-year-old daughter. He's only been married to her for 2 years maybe, but they live together with his 16-year-old daughter. She's trying to figure out what happened. So it's kind of and the book is good. I remember 2 other things we watched on Apple TV a while ago that were really good, but it's been a while. But the first one was The Morning Show. It has Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon and Steve Carell, at least in the first season. That's all I've watched. I only watched the first season, but it was really good. But also really sad. Kind of along the lines of like the She Said and the Bombshell stuff. Steve Carell's character, they're like they're really famous on this morning show. And his character is fired for like allegations of sexual like harassment. That's how our show starts. So it was really sad, but a really well done show. Season 1, that's all I've seen. And then also, I've only seen 1 season of this show, although now there are more, is the show Truth Be Told with Octavia Spencer. The premise is that she starts this podcast that is going back and looking at this murder. I was told by someone years ago when we watched this that it was loosely based off of the podcast Serial. I don't know if y'all have listened to that. It was so good. Serial season 1. Which like the stories are different and all that, but it is about a podcaster who like starts digging for the truth of this crime that was committed and this person who is imprisoned, who she thinks might be wrongly imprisoned. Which is also the basis of Serial, the podcast. So anyway, that show was really well done. I really like Octavia Spencer. And we really liked that show. It had lots of twists and turns and crazy. Okay. I think that's all I have. That's all I could come up with for like any semi-recent things that I've seen that I really liked. Some of them were years ago, but I mostly tried to share things that I've seen at least within the past year that I liked. So, if you have shows or movies to recommend that are in maybe that same family of genre of like what I shared, then tell me, because I really like that kind of stuff. Yeah, because I always love some good recommendations. some of you have recommended some good stuff in the past. But yeah, that's what I had for today. So keep the requests coming. I will try to keep fulfilling them. I'm going to try to get the Big League Chew very soon. You guys have given me several good ideas of places to get it. Okay. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.